Okay, so get this. Some Chinese startup, DeepSeek, they just launched a free AI assistant. And it's not just any assistant either. It's like way more efficient than anything we've seen from the big guys, OpenAI or Microsoft. And honestly, this isn't just like some tech drama. This could really change things for investors in the future of jobs. Even like what AI can actually do.
It's a total game changer.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, Nvidia, the big AI hardware company, they lost
huge.
Yeah, a ridiculous amount, like $593 billion in market value. Just in one day.
Because of this tiny startup.
Exactly. All because of DeepSeek. And it's all because of how they're training their AI. They don't need like mountains of data. They're getting similar results with way less, which of course makes it cheaper to run.
Yeah.
And it's suddenly accessible to like pretty much anyone.
It's a huge leap forward for AI accessibility.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It's like going from needing these massive supercomputers to suddenly you can do it all on your phone.
It's crazy. And then there's the fact that they're just giving it away for free. It's clearly a move to like disrupt the whole market. But can they actually make it work?
It's a gamble for sure, but just look at what's already happening. Nvidia's stock plummet is like the perfect example. Investors are freaking out.
Yeah.
And not just in the US, we're seeing the impact globally. Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, all the big tech hubs are feeling it.
So why are investors so scared? It's more than just DeepSeek being another competitor.
Oh yeah, for sure. What's really shaking things up is that DeepSeek isn't just like another AI company. They're changing the whole game. If they can actually deliver on what they're promising, it could completely rewrite the rules of the AI industry.
That's a big if. But it seems like they're off to a pretty strong start. And you've got DeepSeek, this like small, agile startup. And then you've got companies like OpenAI, these massive giants. It's like David versus Goliath. And I saw OpenAI's CEO kind of downplaying DeepSeek, saying things like better models are coming.
Yeah.
And questioning if DeepSeek can actually scale up.
Right. It's the classic response. But here's the thing. Even if OpenAI is right about all that, DeepSeek has already forced their hand. They've sped up the whole timeline for innovation.
So it's not some far-off future anymore. This is happening now.
Exactly.
So let's say DeepSeek does pull it off. What could that future actually look like?
Well, we could see a huge shift in focus. Instead of just raw processing power, which is what a company like Nvidia is all about, AI development might start to prioritize efficiency. Like, who can do more with less? That's the new question.
Which would be a huge blow to Nvidia. They've been riding this wave of AI hardware demand.
Oh, absolutely. It's a wake-up call for the whole industry. Companies like Google and Microsoft, they can't just sit back anymore. They need to innovate and fast.
And then there's the whole geopolitical angle, too. DeepSeek is a Chinese company, so their success is a win for China. In this whole tech race, what's the U.S. going to do to catch up?
That's a big question a lot of people are asking, but I think the more interesting question is, what can we learn from DeepSeek? Regardless of who's winning, this tech is going to affect all of us.
That's a really good point. It's not just about stocks and market caps. It's about what this technology can actually do.
Yeah.
And who has access to it.
Yeah.
What does it mean for, like, everyday people, like you listening right now?
Right, exactly. I mean, imagine having access to these powerful AI tools.
Yeah.
But without needing a huge budget or like crazy technical expertise. That could be revolutionary for small businesses, artists, researchers, anyone really.
Yeah, it's like the internet all over again. This tech could level the playing field in a way we haven't seen in decades.
Absolutely. It's the exciting part. But of course, any powerful tool can be misused. And that brings us to the big question. What happens when these powerful AI tools are available to pretty much anyone?
That's a question we're going to dive into in part 2.
Exactly.
We'll be back after a quick break. All right, so we've talked about like the market craziness and how DeepSeek could like totally change the AI industry. But let's get down to like the real world for a minute. What does this actually mean for the average person, someone like you listening right now?
That's the key question, isn't it? It's easy to get caught up in the big picture, but this tech is going to touch everyone's lives in some way. Like, think about it. If AI becomes as easy and cheap to use as DeepSeek says, it's like giving everyone a superpower.
A superpower?
Yeah.
That's a bold statement.
Well, think about some of the stuff we've been reading for this deep dive. Remember that article about the bakery owner? They used some AI tool to analyze their sales and figure out, what products were selling best at different times of day.
Oh, yeah.
And they totally optimized their whole schedule, ended up increasing their profits by like 20%.
That's pretty amazing.
Exactly. It's like taking something that used to need a whole team of analysts, and now anyone can do it with their phone.
That's wild.
And it goes way beyond just business. We were reading about artists using AI to create new kinds of art. musicians making unique sounds, even writers using AI to get over writer's block.
Wow, so it's like AI is becoming this like creative partner,
Yeah.
helping people push the limits of what's possible.
Exactly. It's like having an extra brain to bounce ideas off of.
It's kind of freaky, but cool.
Totally. And remember that research paper you sent? The one where scientists were using AI to look at tons of astronomical data?
Yeah, I think so.
It helped them find patterns that would have taken them years to spot on their own,
Yeah.
leading to all these new discoveries about the universe.
So, like, we could solve all kinds of problems, make incredible discoveries if this tech is really available to everyone. But there have got to be some downsides, right?
Of course. Any powerful tool can be misused.
Right.
One of the big questions is, how do we make sure these tools are used responsibly? How do we keep them out of the wrong hands?
That's a scary thought. And what about jobs? Lots of people are worried AI is going to, like, automate whole industries out of existence.
It's definitely something to think about. Some jobs will be affected for sure. That's just how technology works.
Right.
But it's important to remember new technology also creates new opportunities. Think about like the printing press. When it came along, it disrupted the whole book industry. All those scribes who used to copy books by hand, they were out of work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the printing press created this whole new industry, printing and publishing, which led to way more knowledge and literacy.
So it's not just about jobs disappearing, it's about jobs changing.
Exactly.
And we need to, like, learn new skills to keep up.
That's the key.
It's like AI is this giant wave, and we can either ride it or get swept away.
I like that analogy. And to ride that wave, we need to be proactive, embrace the change, and figure out how to use it to our advantage.
So we've talked about AI helping businesses and artists and scientists, even bakers. But what about the regular person, someone who isn't like an entrepreneur or a creative type?
That's where it gets really interesting. Think about how AI is already in our lives. You probably use it every day without even realizing it.
I like how...
Like the recommendations you get on Netflix,
Yeah.
or the spam filters in your email, the navigation app on your phone. All those are powered by AI.
I never thought about it like that.
It's already shaping our decisions and experiences.
That's kind of trippy.
And as it gets more advanced and easier to use, that influence is just going to grow. It'll change how we interact with the world, how we learn, even how we think.
That's both exciting and kind of scary.
It's the nature of being on the cutting edge.
So what can we do? How do we prepare for all this?
Well, one of the most important things is to stay informed. Keep up with the latest stuff, read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
So basically, we need to be like lifelong learners, constantly learning new things.
And the good news is there's a ton of stuff out there to help us do that. Online courses, tutorials, whole communities of people who are into AI. It's all there. We just got to take that first step.
So we've got this huge potential for AI to help people, from small businesses to scientists. But we also need to be aware of the risks. And most importantly, we need to be proactive about educating ourselves and adapting to all this change.
Well said. And I think that leads us perfectly to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll talk about some specific steps you can take to navigate this AI revolution and make sure you're not left behind.
Sounds good to me. Let's dive into part 3.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about a lot, the market going crazy, how AI could affect jobs, what this DeepSeek thing could mean for the future.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, and we're all kind of figuring this out as we go. No one really has all the answers yet.
That's part of what makes it so exciting, though, right? It's like we're all on this journey together.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important to stay curious, keep learning, and be open to new ideas.
Okay, so let's get practical. You're listening to this deep dive. You've got all this new info in your head. What's the next step? What can you actually do with this knowledge?
Well, I think the first thing is, don't feel overwhelmed. You don't have to become an AI expert overnight. Start by thinking about your own interests, your work, your hobbies. Where could AI fit in?
So if you're a musician, maybe try out some AI music tools. If you're a business owner, maybe check out some AI marketing platforms.
Exactly. There are tons of resources out there. A lot of them are free. Take some time to explore, play around, see what catches your eye. The more you use this tech, the less scary it seems.
It's like learning a new language.
Yeah.
You start with the basics, then build up from there.
Exactly. And just like learning a language, the key is to practice.
And speaking of resources, all those articles you sent about using AI for coding websites, I was blown away by some of that stuff.
Yeah, there was some really interesting stuff in there. One article that really stuck with me was about how some schools are using AI tutoring systems. Imagine if every student had their own personalized tutor, one that could adapt to their learning style and pace.
That would be amazing. It could really make education more fair for everyone.
Exactly. And that's just one example. We're just scratching the surface here.
So it's not just about learning how to use AI. It's also about understanding, like, the bigger picture.
You got it. As AI becomes more common in our lives, we need to talk about the ethical side of things, the potential for bias, the impact on society as a whole.
We need to be asking tough questions. How do we use AI for good? How do we stop it from being used for bad? How do we make sure everyone benefits?
Those are important questions, and there aren't any easy answers, but the more we talk about them, the better prepared we'll be.
It's like we're pioneers,
Yeah.
exploring this whole new world.
I like that. And as pioneers, we have a responsibility to be careful, to be curious, and to be brave in shaping the future we want.
Well said. I think that's a great place to wrap things up.
It's been a great discussion.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI. And remember, the future isn't something that just happens to us. We create it. So stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. This is just the beginning of the AI revolution, and it's up to all of us to decide where it goes from here.